Today I'm joined by Zach Everson, a staff writer here at Forbes. Zach, per usual, I appreciate you hopping on to join me.
And per usual, it's a pleasure, Brittany.
Great. As you know, according to a watchdog report, the campaigns for 3 election-denying candidates spent a good chunk of change at Trump businesses. What can you tell us?
So, yeah, there are three political campaigns for election-denying Secretary of State candidates who spent $81,000 at Trump properties, according to a report from Issue 1, a government watchdog. And what really stands out is that this report singled out 9 companies that really made some decent chunk of change off of election-denying Secretary of State candidates. 8 of them were political consultancies. The other one, the Trump Organization.
What can you tell us about these political candidates? Let's go down, starting with who spent the most.
Sure. The most was Mark Finchem. He is probably one of the most well-known of the election deniers. He was running for Secretary of State in Arizona and lost. He is the state rep. And he spent over $53,000 in campaign funds at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago, of course, in Florida. Arizona, not Florida. But he did schlep out there. All 3 of these candidates did pick up in Trump's endorsements, and all 3 of these candidates also did lose.
Is $53,000 a lot in the scheme of a campaign spending something in one place?
For a state Secretary of State, yes, it probably would be. These certainly were contentious Secretary of State races, so I'm guessing the money was probably a little bit higher than in some other states. But last year, we looked at the leading spenders of Trump-endorsed candidates at Trump properties, and $53,000 would put him in the top echelon. I think at the time we came up with about $1.4 million in campaign funds had been spent at Trump properties this election cycle from candidates he'd endorsed. So $53,000 would be pretty high up there.
And what's the timeline here? I'm curious. Are they spending money and then get the endorsement, or does Trump give out this endorsement and then they go and spend money at Trump businesses?
It's worked both ways. A lot of times it is the endorsement comes first. These are very Trumpy candidates in the first place. Trump is bound to endorse somebody who wants to overthrow the election and say that Trump lost because of a big lie. It seems like somebody who's going to get Trump's seal of approval, whether or not they do spend campaign funds there. But then they do have fundraisers. And from what we've heard from campaigns who've gotten back to us, not these 3 in particular, but from some other ones, is fundraisers at Mar-a-Lago do well. Their backers want to go there. Their backers want to see the president. And, 2 of these fundraisers took place at Mar-a-Lago. One was at Bedminster, which is where Trump summers. Trump spoke to all 3 of them. And, candidates say that's what their backers want to see.
Regarding these candidates' politics, are they moderate? Are they fringe? What are they saying?
Well, fringe these days is, pretty much center for the GOP. Finchem we discussed. The other one, Christina Caramo, was a poll worker in 2020 who made up a lie that she had witnessed some voter fraud and then used that in the fame she got thereafter to propel her to run for Secretary of State. So they are pretty far right, but that's also pretty moderate in today's GOP.